Hellraiser is out on Hulu, a new entry in the long-running horror series. Is it a reboot, a remake, a sequel, a fresh reimagining? It's kind of hard to say. I'd say that it's definitely worth checking out the first film, maybe even the first two in the series, but if you start with this one, you shouldn't be very lost either. It was directed by David Bruckner, who previously made Night House, which I enjoyed a lot. So I had high hopes for this new Hellraiser film, and I have to say I was somewhat let down. The story starts with Riley, a young girl struggling to defeat her drug addiction, living together with a couple of friends, trying to find a job, etc. Her new boyfriend talks her into assisting on a job. He knows about an abandoned warehouse that belongs to some very rich people, and suspects that there may be something of huge value just left forgotten in there. They end up breaking in, opening the safe, and then find the mysterious cube that fans of the series know is capable of opening up a portal to the hellish dimension of pleasure as pain. Riley takes the box and begins playing with it, which of course will spell disaster not just for herself but also for others around her. So the film has this strange structure where it feels like about 75% of it runs like an ordinary run-of-the-mill slasher film. A group of irritating young people are being picked off one by one as they try to find out what's really happening around them. And only in the last act does it really go into the full familiar Hellraiser territory, cosmic horror mixed with body horror, with Cenobites finally arriving on the scene to cause mayhem and suffering. Now the problem for me is that as much as I enjoyed that final act, I thought that the film takes too much time getting to it. Like, we know what's coming, we're all here to see exactly that. I don't really see the point of playing with the slasher tropes and dragging them on for such an unbearably long time. Especially as the main group of characters are kind of all unlikable. The performances aren't particularly good from them, and I struggled to find any sort of emotional connection to any of those people. As things start to get rolling, there are also some mechanical problems with Cenobites, physically chasing these kids down on foot, and the rules of the cube changing so much as to allow one of them to be sacrificed instead of a human, which felt a little bit strange knowing the previous lore, but I also think it removes some kind of a mystical aspect of those dreadful villains that you can't do anything to because they operate on a sort of different plane of existence. On the other hand, the design and makeup of the Cenobites is splendid. I think Jamie Clayton as the reimagined Pinhead she's had a great presence, voice and facial expressions, really memorable performance, and I enjoyed the body horror that was happening when it was finally happening. But I have to say again, as much as I liked that final part of the film, I found it difficult to just wave away so much of its runtime that I didn't particularly care for. There's too much not to like about the film to just ignore it and pretend it's good in its entirety. Some good ideas, some cool things, but at the end of the day, I think it's bogged down by the pretty run-of-the-mill slasher structure for too long a time.